Should you write your own training program or should you follow someone else's? That is the question I'm going to be talking about today. My name is Max with Max Performance, and we'll dive into it. And there's really not a right or wrong answer to this question. A lot of it just depends on whether you want to try to write your own program or not. But we'll also jump into some nuances and just my take on it after writing programs for myself on and off for the last 10 plus years. So shit, probably more like, I don't even know, 10, 12 years, something like that. So like if you're a beginner, first and foremost, you probably shouldn't be writing your own program because you have no base of knowledge to like base that program off of. Basically, it's like you can't you can't write a program if you don't know anything about anything, right? Like you need a program to kind of use as a template to build off of, if that makes sense. So like, for example, back in the day, I used 531 as a template. Fix this camera. A template to build off of, because that was a program that I was running. So, I mean, that's a good example. Like I'd build a program off of 531 after training 531 for like 6 months, a year, and then being like, I like this, I don't like this, I'm going to change this. I also like parts of this program. I'm going to incorporate that into there too. So that's kind of how it works. So if you're a beginner, first and foremost, I would pick a program to run and just stick with it as best as you can for like 6 months to a year. And if you're not liking it, and if first off, if you're making progress and you're getting results, don't just switch willy-nilly. This is another huge problem people have called like program ADHD, and I've had a bad case of this in my past, and I still suffer from it. But like, don't just go jumping program to program constantly every week, every month, every 2 months. Like, stick to a program for a while and see if it works. And if you're making progress, even if it's slow and steady, stick to it. Progress is progress. And almost like take what you can get. Like if you can get a 10% return, take it. You might be saying I want a 20 or 30% return, but it's like, nah, that's just not how it works. Like take whatever little progress you can and just stick with it. And then once you stop making progress, then it's like, let's figure it out. What are we going to do? But that's another great piece of advice right there, is just like, if you're making progress, for the love of God, don't switch your program. Stick to what you're doing. And I mean, if anything, maybe tweak some slight things like sets and reps, and maybe you lower the intensity. But like, please just don't go from a program that works to a program that's not working. That's a kind of a tangent. But anyways, like, point being, if you're a beginner, you need something to base a program off of. And the best way to do that is to run some kind of cookie cutter program that you think would be interesting, like 531 or Juggernaut method. Or, I mean, there's a million of them out there. Starting strength, strong lifts, there's a million of them. And just pick one that you think sounds interesting, that fits your needs. Like maybe you're a little more into bodybuilding, so pick something that is a little higher rep. Maybe you're into powerlifting, so, pick something that's a little bit lower rep. So that's just the gist of the first point. Second point is, if you do have good experience and you know what you like, from there you start crafting a program that resembles the training effect you're trying to get after. So it's like, if you're trying to get stronger, then your training is probably geared more towards like strength training or powerlifting. If all you really care about is gaining muscle, it's going to be geared more towards bodybuilding, although of course you're going to have strength training elements in your bodybuilding training, because stronger muscle is generally a bigger muscle, right? And you can never escape that. And the less of a foundation you have, the less specific you really have to get, and the more you really should train multiple principles kind of at one time, like basically like a conjugate method. You could call, or you could phase it where you have hypertrophy blocks and strength blocks. But honestly, as a beginner, you can kind of do everything at the same time and however you like to do it. But the point being, if you do want to write a program, we'll figure out what you like and basically use other programs that you've ran in the past as templates and build off of those programs. I mean, of course, you can try to just do some crazy shit that you think is going to work, but if you do that, you have to stick with it. Like, you can't just jump willy-nilly. Again, like, if you're going to write a program, stick to your program. And I've had tons of trouble with this in the past, but stick to your program. That way you know if it actually worked or not, and if it did, what worked, and if it didn't, what didn't work. So you can analyze it and then iterate on it and have and it's like it's like designing a building. It's like your first iteration is never, it's never the final design, right? You're going to have a million revisions because you're going to constantly be analyzing and fixing things and little issues. And as time goes on, your plan is going to get tighter and tighter and tighter until it's essentially perfect, at least perfect for you, because it's going to be a plan that's more or less kind of catered to you individually, which is one big benefit of writing your own program is you can take into your own specific needs. And by needs, I don't mean I mean more like the shit you like to do. If you like doing bent over row, well, you can work bent over row into your program, no problem. You just have to balance out bent over row with anything else that, might take away from you doing bent over row again. But programming is really all about balance and respecting your time and, creating an efficient program that is going to satisfy your needs and help you hit your goals. So yeah, one great thing about writing your own program, you can take into like your individual needs, what you like to do, your preferences. You can become much smarter and much more intelligent about training in general because you're doing the legwork and you're the one writing these programs. You're basically, and I mean, I guess you probably still have a coach if you are writing your own program, but at the end of the day, you're kind of your coach, right? So that's another big thing is you're going to learn more by writing your own programs, in my opinion. Like if you're just running someone else's programs or you have a coach writing your programs, you're probably not going to learn as much because you're not thinking things through. It's like you're just showing up and doing the work. You're a technician at that point. You're not really the engineer. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with being the technician and just saying, hey, I just want a plan. I don't want to have to think about this. I just want someone to write me a plan, because I've ran tons of different programs throughout the years because I was like, I'm sick of writing programs that don't work. Like I need a break. I'm going to run another program, and then I'd run a program and be inspired to write my own program based off of that program and like what I liked about that program. So anyways, writing your own program makes you the engineer, and therefore it kind of gives you a bit more like intuition. And you're not just going and doing the sets and reps and not really thinking about it as much. So that's a huge plus. And of course, there's always, I mean, you look at 531, you look at Juggernaut Method, you look at all of these different programs. These programs were, let's not ignore the fact that these programs have been monetized and have done well monetarily. So in the back, and that these are systems that have taken a long time to write. Like Jim Wendler worked on I mean, he originally, I think, was doing like a 531 style training. Maybe back in like high school or college. I've heard him talk about this on a podcast. And then he went and did his West Side training and was doing conjugate and, all the geared powerlifting. And then he came back and was like, like 531, like I want to work on this and line out this plan and really make this an effective training system. So Jim was working on that for years and years and years, which training in general, it's not a 1 or 2 year pursuit. I mean, training with weights, it's a lifelong pursuit. I won't go on a tangent, but basically, if you can stick to writing programs for long enough and you create a good enough method that you can create a system that others can use, well, you've just created, like, not everyone knows a lot about lifting weights. And if you have, like, look at all the people that run programs, you have possibly a way to make money off of all of that useless time you spent in the gym, And I'm kidding. Like, obviously, your time in the gym is not actually useless, but it's like, for the most part, I'm not getting paid to go train 5 hours a week in the gym, Like, I'm paying to do that. So if you could eventually make some money off of it because you wrote a badass training system, well, awesome. Like, fucking A, that's awesome. So those are some other benefits. So I guess bottom line, writing programs, not for everyone, especially if you're a beginner. Like, get a base of strength, get a base of knowledge before you peel off and you start writing your own programs. And because you're going to make mistakes, and it's easier to run a solid program, especially in the beginning, just to learn, just to get an idea of how your body responds to training, what you like to do, etc., that kind of stuff. And then again, if you are going to write a program, some of the benefits are it gives you a deeper understanding of training and basically how to program training. Generally just gives you a better idea of what it takes to program and what it takes, because then you can program for other people too. What else? Other benefits. You can take in individual needs and preferences, all that good stuff. So obviously there's some great benefits to writing your own programs. Like I said, I mean, I've been training for 10 plus years. I've spent a lot of my time running my own programs. I spent a lot of time running other people's programs, like popular general strength training programs and such. And I've spent some time just winging it in the gym and just going, hey, I'm gonna hit heavy singles for 5 months. Fuck it, So I don't know. Do what you want. That's about it. I'm Max from Max Performance. Put any questions down below, and I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on programming, whether it's beneficial to write your own programs, whether you've written your own programs in the past, and I don't know, like what you think the way to go is. So thanks everyone. Bye.